in that she wanted to put him on like this Native American treatment, and the government stepped in and said, no, you cannot. If the chemo was working for the boy, you have to continue, and they were going to force her to.
They did ultimately, and they fled, and then they came back, and then she relented and agreed. And I don't know that I had anything definite as far as how the kid was doing now, but the state stepped in and said, you have to provide medical care for this child.
But the state didn't pay for it, did they?
No, that's not, my understanding is they did not, but they did make the parent provide it,
Because
absolutely.
if the parent wouldn't agree, then they would remove custody. That's what kind of forced her.
Yeah, that's right. The state was going to take control of the child. Of course, then the state would pay for it because they were now responsible for the child. Okay, politics and political science. Politicians were the actors within the government. So when you think about this, these could be leaders, these could be representatives or senators, this kind of a thing. What was the polity? Because the polity was where we started to get into the next round.
Tacos.
Group of people around the idea. Polity.
The group of people around the idea. Okay, group of people around an idea. Anything else? Go ahead, boys.
Aren't they the ones that have like a strong bedroom and wallet?
They had the strong bedroom and actually,
No,
that's close, but hold off on that thought for now. Go ahead.
Polity, when you're in favor or against a view or issue, a link between like-minded people.
Yeah, it's going to be a link, and you're right. People are going to be organized around an idea. A group is going to be organized around an idea. So when you think about a polity, I think one of the examples I had given you was the idea that since all of y'all are in PS105, y'all are a class polity. Or you could say if you're a Red Sox fan, for example, you would be Red Sox Nation, might very well be a polity. Or I had given you the, and these are actual positive examples. When you think about it, organized around something, in favor of something. But then I had given you the taco stand article, and it was a little bit different. What do you remember about the taco stands? Go ahead, Lynn.
Banning $1 tacos in I don't remember. I think in this Texas.
Georgia, Gwinnett County, Georgia. That's right.
Yeah, and well,
why were they banning the $1 tacos?
Because they don't want they want people to speak just English.
Mm-hmm.
And well, if they ban taco, the Latinos will migrate.
Will leave.
Will
Yeah. Basically, the article says that there was this incredible growth in Latino population in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And the residents there really didn't like this growth. So what did they do? They started to try and reinforce their own culture by banning things like the $1 taco stands. And the sense was, if we ban the taco stands, then the folks that we don't want here are going to go someplace else, which means we're going to have our culture, we're going to have our freedom to a certain extent back, if you will. What other examples of laws came out of the taco stand article that were examples, and this is an example of a polity not organizing around an idea, but this is an example of a polity doing what?
What was that?
This is
Organizing against.
What's that?
Organizing against.
Organizing against a particular idea or organizing against a particular group. What were some of those laws? Go ahead. Yeah.
Wasn't there one in Kansas, like people couldn't sit on their front porches or something?
Because that's what they do, the article says. So we're going to ban the Latino community from sitting on their porches because that's what they do. Any other ones? The idea of only being able to speak English when you were getting, say, government services, or the guy, and I believe it was Cheesesteak Ashley in the back, if you remember, that was talking about the guy in Philly that required everybody to only order in English when they ordered cheesesteaks in his establishment.
That's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was in Philly.
He puts it on his marketing ideas, like his pen. It has a picture of him pointing to the sign saying that I'm allowed to enforce it.
Is that right? I got to go up there and check that out just to
It's
see
really
what it
good.
looks like.
Just
But bottom line was, there were 3 or 4 or 5 different examples of laws in there. And those were kind of the bigger ones. Andrew, do you have one? Or?
No, I was just going to ask a question.
Yeah.
As far as like location and specifics go for the articles, do you really want us to remember, like, would the U.S. be vague enough?
If you didn't tell me that in Kansas they passed laws, that's fine.
So if we just put, like, in the
But if you
US?
can give me examples of laws, you know, and when you think about it, you could probably argue that this was kind of an oppressed group. And when you think about it too, think about themes as far as countries go. Because, okay, we had the women's theme, you know, and you've got some of these that are linked to terms, which we're kind of going through now. There are going to be several times that we've visited a country, like Kenya's come up a few times now. or Japan has come up a few times now. And maybe make sure when you look through these things that you find some of those, because that could turn into a good big question. You know, a short answer question, that is. We had the Twitter revolution with Iran. We had Kenya withholding sex because of the revolution or the violence from a couple of years ago. Take a look at those. I don't think that they're necessarily going to be that big ones. Ahmadinejad actually probably fell under the politician article, talking about how Israel's supposed to end. I think that's probably one we can knock off. Don't worry so much about Ahmadinejad.